Yo, what is up, everyone? It's your boy Ultimate, and I'm back with the second part of my top players series with the top 10 shooting guards in the NBA from this season. And I can't stress this enough, all of these rankings are purely based on this season, not any other season. So with that out of the way, let's get right into this. Now, starting this list at number 10 is CJ McCollum of the Portland Trail Blazers. CJ is having another amazing offensive season. He's still one of the best offensive players in the league, as this season he's averaging 21.7 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on pretty good efficiency, as it's 47% from the field and 35.5% from three. While it's not his best season, CJ has had some extremely good games this season. He's had 3 games over 30 points and 2 games over 40. CJ is continuing what the Blazers have done during the last few seasons, as he's helped lead them to a 55 win percentage on the season so far. But just like Dame Lillard, it's during the playoffs where CJ must prove himself after last year's embarrassing performance and sweep to the Pelicans. Coming in at number 9 is Bradley Beal. Beal is coming off of his hot season from last season and is putting up slightly better numbers than CJ. As Beal and McCollum are practically the same players with minor differences, there's a tough choice in choosing between who should get the number 9 and number 10 spot. The reason I put Beal over CJ is that he's just a slightly better all-around player. Beal is a better scorer, rebounder, passer, and defender, and it shows in his numbers. On the season, Beal is averaging 23.1 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game on the season, on 47% from the field and 34% from 3. While the Wizards are not living up to their expectations on the season, as they only have 12 wins and are the 11th seed in the East as of right now. If Waller Beal get traded, I do expect for him to play better, as the interior drama is definitely having an impact on his play. At the number 8 spot, I have Zach LaVine. LaVine is having the best season of his career by far so far, and is near the top of the most improved player award list. After being traded for Jimmy Butler and finally getting to be the number 1 option on a team, LaVine has showed off his full scoring prowess and opened up his whole game. From right now, LaVine is averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, and steals with 23.8 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, and 4.8 assists per game on 45% from the field and 32% from 3. As LaVine is having a pretty good statistical season, there are 2 major flaws in his game. The first part being that he turns over the ball way too much. On the season so far, LaVine is averaging 4 turnovers per game, which is way too much for a guy who's supposed to be an offensive elite. LaVine's ball handling and decision making has not been too good right now, which is not surprising as he's still extremely young and has a lot of room to grow this aspect of his game. The second flaw in his game is his defense. LaVine is flat out awful on that side of the ball, as he's never been known for his defense but having to do so much on offense, LaVine is now taking more possessions off on defense and leaving other teams to blow the Bulls out on multiple occasions. At number 7 is Devin Booker. Booker has opened and expanded one of the major flaws in his game. This season, Booker has extremely advanced his playmaking. With the lack of point guards on the Phoenix Suns, Booker has been forced to naturally adapt and play the position from the 2-guard spot. Booker has still been playing the 2, but has running the offense through him, as he has a crazy high 34.2 assist rate. For perspective, the assist per game leader in the NBA right now is Kyle Lowry, and he has a 38% assist rate, which isn't much higher. On the season, Book is averaging 23.8 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 6.8 assists per game so far. Unsurprisingly, Booker's points per game has gone down since last season, but it's only due to his increase in facilitating for himself and for others. Unsurprisingly, Booker's points per game have gone down since last season, but it's only due to the increase of him having to facilitate for other people instead of just facilitating for himself. Booker is still one of the best pure scorers on this list and in the league, but due to his team's lack of success and Booker being unavailable to his team due to injury every now and then, I can't put him any higher. Coming in at number 6 and just missing the top 5 is Klay Thompson. Klay is having another solid year after having an extremely rough start to the season. Klay is back to being one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. On the season, Klay is averaging 22.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 2 assists per game on the season so far, with 45% from the field and 35% from 3. The main reason Klay is not broken into the top 5 is that his play has been underwhelming compared to the last few seasons, as a 3-point shot is a main staple of Klay's game. Shooting 35% from 3 is hardly acceptable, and while he's been playing better since his 53-point outburst, his play was not completely up to standard, and he could not help KD keep the Warriors to play winning basketball while Steph was out, which is unacceptable. Starting off our top 5, at number 5 is Victor Oladipo of the Indiana Pacers. Victor is following up his breakout season with another solid season. While he's having a slightly worse season than last season, his play is still nothing to scoff at. On the season, Victor is averaging a respectable 20.8 points, 6.6 rebounds per game, and 5.1 assists per game on 44% from the field and 35.5% from 3. While his rebounding and playmaking has been a bit better since last season, his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage and defense are all worse to slightly worse than last season. But that is not the main reason he is not placed any higher. On the season, Victor Oladipo has only played 19 games this season. As Victor is by far the best player on his team, he cannot afford to miss that many games, as without him, his team has been absolutely atrocious, and we need a larger sample size of his play. Breaking into the top 5 at the number 4 spot is Jrue Holiday of the New Orleans Pelicans. Over the last few seasons, Jrue has been consistently improving his play, and this season is no exception. On the season, Jrue is averaging a career high in points, assists, and steals per game, with 20.5 points per game, 4.7 assists per game, and a near career high 4.3 boards per game, alongside his career high 1.8 steals per game on 47% from the field and 30% from 3. Jrue's playmaking has been key in the Pelicans' offense and success this season, and he's been controlling the offense and creating good looks for the rest of the team while being their best wing defender and more than likely looking at another all-defensive first team. Coming in at number 3 is DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan has had an amazing offensive season so far, playing under Greg Popovich in his new team in San Antonio. Coach Pop has opened up DeMar's game, as DeMar is averaging a career best in assists per game and rebounds per game, and his field goal percentage. On the season right now, DeMar is averaging 23.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, 6.2 assists per game on 47% from the field, but a god-awful 16% from 3. This season, DeMar is leading the Spurs to an underwhelming 16-15 record on the season. DeRozan has been helping the Spurs as much as he possibly can offensively, but it's defensively that brings in problems, as uncharacteristically, the Spurs are a bottom team in defensive rating, sitting at number 23 on the season, worse than teams such as the Bulls and the Nets. As his poor defense is not completely DeMar's fault, he's never been known for his defense, but his defensive effort is not always 100%, which leads to easy points for the other team. At number 2 is Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy has gone through a lot this season and has not been consistently able to show his skills with all the drama. But he's definitely had a major impact on his new team, the 76ers, so far. When the 76ers traded for Butler, they got exactly what they needed and requested. An amazing wing defender and a guy who can create his own shot and a guy who can close out games. Jimmy has been all of that and more for the 76ers, as in his short stint so far with the team, Jimmy has already hit 2 big game winners against the Hornets and the Nets, and he's helped them become one of the best defensive teams in the league. While the 76ers are not the best fit for Jimmy, as he's playing with 2 other extremely ball-dominant players who clash with his play style, Jimmy's numbers have unsurprisingly dropped slightly on the season so far. On the season, Jimmy is averaging 19.8 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 3.4 assists per game. With the 76ers, Jimmy is taking his lowest amount of shots per game by attempting only 14.3 of them per game, his lowest amount of attempts since 2014. But while his numbers have dropped, Jimmy does take advantage of this, as he's shooting career highs from the field at 47% and 40% from 3. While Jimmy's still figuring out his fit, he has helped boost them from pretenders to contenders to come out of the East this season. At number 1, there's no surprise. It's the beard himself, James Harden. Harden is doing what he does best by killing other teams with his scoring and playmaking. On the season so far, Harden is averaging a league and career high 31.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, and 8.2 assists per game on the season so far, on 45% from the field and 37% from 3. While Harden has been killing it, it has not led to much success as of right now. The Rockets are only 15-14 on the season, a great distance away from the 65 wins